From New York, the intrepid NBC News intelligence and national security reporter Ken Dilanian. Ken, I need to start with you on this. I had to read us through everything that happened on Air Force One, partly because we weren't, or entirely because we weren't allowed to use the audio from that first kind of set of comments. And I was sitting there flipping through that and then listened to what the president had to say later. It didn't seem like he was actually walking back what he said initially when he did appear on camera about Russian meddling.
Let's call it a half-hearted attempt to sort of respond to the criticism. And the criticism, Kasie, has been about as intense as I have seen it. And the reason is I cannot convey enough how outside the norm what he did in terms of criticizing these former intelligence officials who are career officials. I mean, James Clapper and John Brennan may be Democrats, I don't know, but they've served presidents for decades, and they've killed more terrorists than anybody in the Trump White House. And what they see is a President Trump being played like a violin by a former KGB officer, Vladimir Putin. And what Trump said about the three intelligence agencies,
can we fact check that?
Absolutely. It's been fact checked before. I've fact checked it. The issue there is it's actually four intelligence agencies, the big four, the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence that signed that intelligence assessment on Russian election interference. It wasn't 17. Some news organizations have misreported that and rightly have corrected themselves. But the reason the other agencies did not sign on is they don't deal with this issue explicitly. Like, for example, the Coast Guard intelligence agency is not concerned with Russian hacking. But the important thing to remember is that none of them dissented. In the case of Iraq WMD, for example, you had the State Department dissenting. There was no dissent, and this was delivered with high confidence, which is about as strong as the U.S. intelligence community can say anything, Kasie.
Rick Tyler, Ken mentioned the idea of norms and blowing through them. I mean, I feel like the list is piling up, but this seems to be